So welcome everyone to Thursday night yoga therapy. And tonight we are moving very strongly into the mind emotions. So we have 2 weeks left, and these 2 weeks we just really go into reviewing the whole body, but working also with the mind and emotions through breath and meditation practices. So I hope you enjoy this. Well, we have someone else joining. Just while the last student's joining, just set up and lie down, get comfortable, find your spot. As you know, I usually start in this supine position. One of my colleagues calls this Suptasana, which I really like, a very nice name. It means the asana of supta, or lying down on your back. And I think of this as the supine Tadasana, mountain pose. Some of you, again, might feel more comfortable with your legs bent, so feel free to do that. That's more comfortable. Just feel your lower back. When you're ready, you're going to start inhaling, bringing the arms up and overhead. Feel free to have a bolster behind you, or just don't bring the arms as high. If you can, tuck the chin in, Jalandhara Bandha. That stretch of the back of the neck. Exhale from the pelvic floor all the way up to the belly button, the chest falls. Inhale from the upper chest to the lower chest, to the full belly expanding. And at the end of the inhale, chin in. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. Just keeping that in. Just gonna make sure you're all muted here. Oh, and letting someone else in. The hardest part of yoga for me still is getting to the mat every day. Some days are easier than others. So just thank yourself for actually making it to class, because it is not easy. And I always think of making it to class or making it to the mat as a form of pratyahara, withdrawing the senses. You have to detach from a whole bunch of things to get here, arrive here, and spend some time with yourself. Starting to count the breath, coordinating breath and movement, pausing between inhale and exhale. Inhale is a little bit longer than the movement. And the exhale again is a little bit longer than the movement. So the breath starts and finishes each movement. Adding Ujjayi Pranayama when you're ready, constricting the throat. I'm just again gonna make sure you're all muted. When you're ready, staying in the full pose if that's comfortable. Now you might be able to interlock your fingers, palms up. This is Tadaka Mudra. The reason it's called that is because of the bandhas that we create with the lower belly. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, the lower back goes to the floor. And maybe your chin comes in, Jawandhara Bandha. And then inhale from the chest to the belly. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, draw everything in and up. And maybe tuck the chin in. Those are the 3 bandhas, locks. Hold after exhale. Release the stomach a little bit, then inhale into the chest and then into the belly. Just keep this going in your own timing. Have the arms in another place. If this is not comfortable, you can always have the knees bent. Also, if it hurts your lower back. Perhaps add a ratio to your breathing. Pranayama. Inhale 4 to 10 seconds. Exhale the same. Hold after exhale half the length of your exhale, or perhaps even the same length. I call that triangular breathing. You might have heard of square breathing. That's what the hold after inhale as well. When you're ready, release that pose. Just rest. Notice how you feel. Just going to work with the neck. Inhale, arms coming up. You know, at the end of the day, many people have been on computers, so just working with the neck and shoulders a bit. Inhale, arms coming up to your place. Exhale, one arm coming down and turning your head away from the top arm. Back of the head towards that top arm. And just stay here for a couple of breaths. As you exhale, you might turn your head a little bit more. You can change where that top hand is. Be a little further away from your ear or closer to your ear. Just play with that for your neck. When you're ready, you're going to unturn the head as you start to inhale and bring the arm up. And exhale, other side, other arm going down. The end of the exhale, turning the head, back of the head towards the top arm. Just notice how that feels in the neck and shoulders. If it's not comfortable, just adjust those arms until it is. You can make them lower. You can create more width away from the body with the arms. So exhale, maybe turn the head a bit more. Inhale, relax.
You're ready, untwisting the head as you inhale, arm coming up. Exhale, arms coming down. Just rest for a moment. Bending those knees. You can have a prop between your legs if you know that that feels good for your body, or a belt on your legs. I think I'm going to choose that one myself. That one be helpful if you have tightness in your hips, which tends to be my issue. So just making your choice, and you can use both. You can put the block between and the belt. That is very good if you've got a lot of instability in your back, in your SI area, sacrum, any of those things. Inhale, lifting the hips up. We're going to put our hands on our hearts, if that works for you, somewhere on the chest. And as you exhale, you're going to bring your hands to the sky. So I know one of you who has some rotator cuff issues, you might really enjoy this variation. Inhale, the hands coming down, open the chest. I don't think I've taught this in a long time. And then lift those hips high, and you can bring the elbows down a bit so you can lift a little higher, and exhale. Bring the hands up. So just doing a bunch of work on the upper back. Opening the heart. Inhale, coming up. Tend to do a lot of work on thoracic mobilization when I'm going to be doing breath work, pranayama, because you want to get the lungs working, the rib cage opening. Inhale, coming out. Also working with the thoracic spine from a science perspective is said to increase our sense of resilience in terms of pain and stress. Sympathetic nervous system innervation in this part of the body, so perhaps for that reason. Inhale, coming up, lifting nice and high, getting into that lower back as well, strengthening those hips, those legs. It's a whole body pose, and exhale, release. Just hoping you're enjoying this variation. So again, the hands are coming to the heart as you inhale, so not overhead. The hands are coming to the heart as you inhale, elbows at the side, lift those hips nice and high, elbows tucking in, and exhale, hands to the sky, to the ceiling. And I'm bringing my hands far, far away. We do this in warrior pose. Some of you might know this. I also do it in Dvipadipita. When you're ready, you can just stay in that lifted pose. You might bring your hands down by your sides. You might hold a belt between your hands or interlace your fingers. You might be able to hold your ankles and lift nice and high and breathe here. So you inhale, try to lift a little higher. So release. When you feel complete, starting to roll the spine down. Let's take a rest for a moment. And I know some of you have some knee issues and back issues, and you might be feeling this pose in those parts of the body. Works the whole body. Hopefully you feel a sense of freedom in the chest right now. We're going to release any props you might have. Inhale, center, exhale, bringing your knees to one side. Inhale, center, exhale, knees to the other side. And I just wanted to share that those of you who are lucky enough to have a fireplace or a wood stove at home, something like that, or a gas stove, gas fireplace. Really nice to do an evening practice by the fire in the winter. We often need a bit more rest in the winter. It can just give you a little bit of energy for the evening. If you just take even a 30-minute break and do some of these practices, you can look at the video, of course, and do a full hour. Or even just do half an hour of a class. Put that in your ear as a ritual to bring into your life during these long, dark winter days. Starting to move the head to the opposite side, perhaps, maybe that same palm turning down. So legs one direction, palm down the other way. Head facing the other way. Inhale, head center, exhale the other direction. Now, as you turn the head, try to bring the back of the head a little bit back towards the side your knees are on so that you have good alignment in your spine. Doing this as a counter pose to Dvipadipedam. Classically, it's Apanasana, but this is another possible counter pose. And maybe you want to stay on one side. And then if you like, adding some neck and shoulders, sliding the hand along the heart, sliding to one side, and stretching the back of the shoulders. You turn your head again, you might need a blanket or something under your head, or a layer of those soft blocks. Inhale, center, exhale, other side. Let's just make sure you have enough room to move. That's why it's very nice to do this on a carpet, a big carpet. Stretching the back of the shoulder, the anterior deltoid. That can get quite tight. Just moving side to side. Your feet can be quite wide for this so that your hips get more stretch. Now, some of you might add on the arm overhead as you do the inhale and exhale. So again, just make sure you've got room. Move into the full body. Inhale, center, pause, exhale, other side. Start to exhale before you start to move. Still exhaling at the end of the movement. Pause. Just finishing up your last round. That's a variation I created for my own neck and shoulders. I'm sure someone else out there has also created this. It's a very natural movement. And then staying in the center, you can stretch out those legs. Just take a rest. Or keep the legs bent. Just how you feel. Okay, we're going to do one more with the upper back, neck, and shoulders, and then move more into the lower body. So I'm going to use these two blocks, but you're welcome to use a rolled mat. So I'm
going to set up my blocks like this. Hope you can see that well. You can use a rolled mat. If you are using a rolled mat, have the rolled mat from the top of the head to the base of the rib cage. You can also use a rolled blanket. Okay. So I know all of you have a yoga mat because most of you practice with one. So that's a simple prop. I personally prefer these, but depends on you. And some of you will need an additional prop for underneath the buttocks if you have lower back pain. You might need something like this underneath, show the camera, underneath your buttocks. Okay, so just make sure you have lots of room around you because we're going to be moving the arms in angel arm movements. Okay, so this first block I'm putting about at the edge of my bra strap area in my middle back, and then the other block, to find it, put it under the head. Now some of you, I know this from in-person classes, have the other block up on the edge like this, okay, rather than like this. I'm trying to show this to you without breaking my neck. All right, so just finding what works for you. I've seen many of you in the room do this in person. I like to stretch my legs out and have them at the wall, but you can have them bent. You can have a bolster under your thighs. Also, that takes pressure out of the back. And then when you inhale, then you start to move your arms like angel arms up and perhaps all the way overhead to the floor behind you. Perhaps if that's a big stretch, be careful. As you exhale, can you bend the elbows and bring your arms down? Inhale, arms coming up. Spreading those fingers apart, perhaps. Tucking your chin in, maybe. Exhale, bend those elbows, draw the shoulders down. You might feel some nice massage in the back body, in the mid-back. As you do that exhale, inhale coming up. This is mobility of the shoulders, the neck. It's a fair amount of space. And exhale. Bring those shoulders down, and you get to that cactus arm position, you might feel quite a stretch in the middle back. Just do this a couple more times in your own timing. Try not to look at me with your eyes, just keep your eyes closed if you can. Just listen to my voice. Just do this in your own timing now. Ujjayi Pranayama. And after you've done this 4 to 6 times, which you probably have, maybe you want to try staying in 1 or 2 of the positions. So one position I like to stay in is with my arms all the way overhead and get that stretch underneath the armpits, the triceps. Another position is cactus arms, as they're usually called in the West. Or just release the hands down in another place that feels good. Spot that a block or rolled mat, you can, as you exhale, kind of squeeze in there and give yourself a self massage in your upper back. This was my first restorative pose that I was introduced to in an Ashtanga yoga class, and it was 2002 in Vancouver in City Yoga, where I was teaching Vini Yoga. That was my very first class. And I was like, oh, I need to learn about this prop business because this is pretty amazing. And I found an Iyengar yoga teacher and started my journey down that path for the next 10 years. Just breathing here,
Inhale into the chest, into the belly. Exhale, belly, chest. If it's uncomfortable, come out of the pose and just lie in Shavasana. If you need to, do child's pose as a counter. Perhaps counting the breath, Ujjayi Pranayama, constricting the throat. Inhale 4 to 10 seconds, pause, exhale the same. You might want to do a hold after inhale to lift your energy, expand your energy. It's called Brahmana. Come out anytime that it's starting to be uncomfortable. Always change your arm positions, try a different one. When you're ready, consider coming out of the pose. You could always stay a little longer and skip out what I'm doing next. But if you're ready, just turning to bend your knees if they're straight. And then you could lift up by holding the back of the head, or I just like to roll off my props to the side with some care and rest that way. That just depends on your body. And just take a moment and rest in side child's pose or full child's pose. Just rest there for a minute. It's your counter pose. All right, we're all going to go into child's pose. So I'm now going to work with the upper back, but as well as the lower back. Lean onto your belly. You might want to have a blanket underneath your belly or pillow as well. You could have a couple of blankets below the bra strap area down to the hips if you have something. We're just going to work on opening those shoulders again and then getting into the lower back as well. Okay, because I know a number of you have lower back stuff going on. So I'm going to integrate that. We haven't done this pose this term. So inhale, I want you to actually bring your legs apart and your arms at the side in a T position. Okay, this pose is called Vimanasana airplane. They actually had airplanes in the Vedic culture, which is pretty interesting. 4,000 years ago. Inhale, lifting up the arms at the side and the legs up. Now exhale, can you bring the feet together as the hands come to the forehead or to a diamond shape above you or straight arms? Inhale, come to your side as you open your legs and maybe lift your chest and maybe even your chin up. Be careful of that for headaches. Some of you, much better keep that chin in. Exhale, coming back to the center, hands at the forehead, diamond shape, or palms together. Inhale, opening. Vimanasana, airplane. Exhale, centering, Shalabhasana. Inhale, Vimanasana. Lifting nice and high if you can. Exhale, Shalabhasana. Inhale, Vimanasana. Exhale, Shalabhasana. Inhale, Vimanasana. Exhale, Shalabhasana. Rest here. Bend your elbows. Hands by your sides. Hands about shoulder height. Inhale, lift your chest with your hands in this position and those shoulders back. This is for some of you who have some perhaps weakness in the back of the shoulders. So I'm putting a little bit of focus here today for you folks. Now, if you want to add the lower back, lift the legs as well. Inhale. And exhale, release. And turn your head side to side as you exhale to work on that rotation of the neck as well. Inhale, center, tuck the chin in, or maybe look forward. Just be careful, that doesn't work for everyone, that looking forward. Exhale, come down, turn your head to the other side. Inhale, lifting the hands up, draw the shoulder blades together, lift the legs up, chin in, or looking forward. Exhale, coming down. Should be feeling your upper back and lower back muscles working. It's going to be the hardest part of the practice today, strength-wise. Inhale up. Exhale down. Do this a few more times. I'm hoping for those of you with some weakness in the back of the shoulders as well as the lower back, this will help you. So that applies to a few of you in the room today. And it gives us some energy this time of year. It's hard to get our energy going. Classically, the feet are together. Usually we modify feet apart. And when you've had enough, which might be anytime very soon, go into child's pose and rest. If you do have one more in you, just do some Bhujangasana Cobra, hands just under your shoulders, elbows tucked in, lifting the chest, keeping the belly on the ground. Could have those feet at the wall to ground the lower back. And exhale, coming down side to side, or just stay in child if you've had enough. I know at least one of you just has to be really careful to keep the chin tucked in so you don't get headaches doing this. And when you feel like you've had enough, do go into child's pose. That pose we just did is also good for the kidneys, it is said, warms them up. I know one of you in the room is doing that in your personal practice for working with the kidneys. Do child's pose side to side. We'll just stay in the center. Coming onto your back. Just gonna do one more asana before we sit for some pranayama. Hopefully you're nice and warm now. We're just gonna stretch those legs a bit. So we're gonna move, we're actually moving from the top down today, which is another way to work is from the top down. Just working with those legs. We've done this a lot this term. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, bring one leg up and you can bend the other knee if you like. Just dynamically stretching those legs. This works with all the joints. The ankles, the knees, hips. Also getting into those shoulders. You're feeling quite warm and ready, you can just leave one leg down as you bring the other one up. Pada Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. Now you might also hold the back of the thigh as you do this. You could bend the opposite knee or have the leg straight. And you might add a lift of the head. So just be careful to make that choice. Just picking your medicine. And just finishing up. Exhale, draw those knees in. Uttanasana. Inhale, legs up, arms up. Exhale, bring your hands down by your side. Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. You just stay here or inhale, one leg coming down to the floor or just above the floor as the opposite arm goes up or both arms go up. So draw that leg up as the hand comes down. Just doing that side to side, just getting into those legs, those feet. Inhale, pointing the toes. Exhale, flexing, using the core strength to move the legs with that Mula Bandha. Some of you could move into moving both legs down and both legs up. Both arms as well, of course. I'm just going to do the Ekvapada version myself, but the full version is like this. It's the classical version, Urdhva Prasarita Padasana on both legs, both arms. Inhale, the legs come down as the arms come up. And exhale all the way. You can work towards that by just not coming down as far. Be careful, that's a lot of load on the back, so be careful. I recommend the one-legged version for most people. Bend your knees to your chest, Uttanasana. Draw the belly in. Feel free to put a block under the lower back. If you have a lot of sway back, this pose will be challenging. Inhale, chest to belly. Exhale, belly to chest, maybe adding a hold after. Exhale, I'm going to add that block myself. Give me a little bit more ability to draw in. This one also can be helpful for incontinence issues, having that little semi-inversion under the pelvis. We're bending the knees now, upon asana. There we go. Inhale, straighten the arms, knees away. Exhale, knees towards the chest. It's our final pose before sitting. Hold after exhale. Inhale, knees away. Start to exhale, then start to move. The exhale is drawing your legs in. Hold after exhale, engaging those bandhas, Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. Bandhas are important to work with before we learn pranayama, because ideally bandhas are part of pranayama. When you're ready, turning to one side. If it's comfortable for you, you're going to sit for pranayama. You can do this seated in a chair. You do not have to sit on the floor. There is no prerequisite. Of course, that's possible. In yoga therapy, we adapt to where you're at. Just gonna have a blanket under my feet. It's been bothering me having my feet on the hard floor. So if you have a carpet or something, it's kind of nice. All right, so sit cross-legged. You can have blocks under your knees. You can sit with your back at the floor. You can sit in a chair. Back, you want your back to be straight. You can sit in Vajrasana, kneeling pose. Do that. I'm going to do cross-legged. Your hips are warm enough. Okay, so pranayama. All right, so the hands, we worked with the first two fingers in, the last two fingers up, or modification, just little beaks of the hands. So you decide. The first one is called Greggy Mudra, Deer Mudra. Looks like that. Or just make little beaks of the hands. And classically, it's just the right hand, but I use both hands for various mind-body reasons. Inhale, Ujjayi Pranayama. We're going to do Anuloma Ujjayi. And then we're going to do Viloma Ujjayi. Exhale, left nostril. Inhale, both nostrils, Ujjayi. Exhale, right nostrils. Just keep this going your own timing. Samavriti even counts. If you like, you can add a hold after exhale, half the length of the exhale. Try to keep that elbow high when you breathe. Keeping your elbow high keeps the rib cage open. Okay, when you do that, exhale. Try to keep your elbow high as if there's a danda staff under your elbow. Pick a ratio that works for you, 4 to maybe 12 seconds.
Half close the nostril, you're breathing out of, fully close the other one. You can have a hold after exhale, same length as the exhale or half. Just finishing up your last round, left to right. Break. We're going to do Viloma Ujjayi Pranayama. This has a focus more on inhalation, so it's more Brahmana, it's more energizing. Anuloma, the one we just did, is more relaxing, more Langana. Inhale, left nostril. Exhale, both nostrils, Ujjayi Pranayama. Inhale, right nostril. Exhale, both nostrils, Ujjayi Pranayama. You want to increase that Brahmana effect, you can do a hold after inhale. So just going your own timing. Left to center, right to center. Viloma Ujjayi Pranayama. Your ratio might get longer as you go along. We've completed around 6 rounds, left to right. You can take a break. Just finishing up. Now we're going to put those together. Prati Loma Ujjayi Pranayama. So it puts those two parts together. So inhale both nostrils Ujjayi. Exhale left nostril. Inhale left nostril. Exhale Ujjayi. Inhale Ujjayi. Exhale right nostril. Inhale right nostril. Exhale Ujjayi. So it's like an M. It's like an M. So inhale both, exhale left, inhale left, exhale both, inhale both, exhale right, inhale right, exhale both. Just get started when you're ready. Hope that makes sense to all of you. Pick a ratio to work with. You can do a hold after inhale and a hold after exhale, or none, your choice. Around 6 rounds if we have time. Try to draw the belly in and pelvic floor in and up on those holds after exhale, or just during your exhale. Just do your best to engage those bandhas. Just going to finish up our last round. Save the time. So just finishing up your last round. You finish, just do some breath awareness, observing the natural fall, rise and fall of the breath. Just finishing up if you haven't. Inhale, so exhale, hum. a mantra to observing the rise and fall of the breath. This mantra means that which I am. Inhale, so, exhale, Letting the breath move from the nostrils to the belly as you inhale, from the belly to the nostrils as you exhale. Time, I encourage you to continue this meditation for 15 minutes. Close the class. For today, we're going to come back to this next week and keep going further. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Hari. Namaste. Namaskaram. Thank you very much.